Rubber burden engine screaming, it's a madhouse. Hypershift racing, every driver wild and riled out. Peacemaker broadcast, a crowd tuned in tight, watching steel beasts fight under stadium lights. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Tires spinning rhythm, a dangerous ballet. Hypershift gladiators in an asphalt ballet. Drafting on the curves, it's a calculated gamble. One wrong move leaves your dreams dismantled. Crowd roaring, engines roaring, echoes break the sky. Broadcast live for the legends who never fear to fly. Checker flags beckon, it's the road we obey. Adrenaline profits, in the fast lane we stay. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a down, the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, a down, the glory we take. Tires spinning rhythm, a dangerous ballet. Hypershift gladiators in an asphalt ballet. Drafted on the curves, it's a calculated gamble. One wrong move leaves your dreams dismantled. Crowd roaring, engines roaring, echoes break the sky. Broadcast live for the legends who never fear to fly. Checker flags beckon, it's the road we obey. Adrenaline profits, in the fast lane we stay. Pistons pump like heartbeats, it's mechanical insanity. Hypershift warriors bending physics with calamity. Peacemaker feeds a frenzy to every fan's delight. When the lead's in the zone, it's a glorious fight. Pedal to the floor, we ain't pumping no brakes. Speed demons in the zone, leaving fire in their wake. On the edge of chaos, ain't no room to fake. Peacemaker screens lit for the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, the glory we take. Time spinning rhythm, the glory we take.
Woo! Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rock and roll. We get ready to duke it out here this evening from the beautiful Talladega Super Speedway here with the Hypershift Racing League here this afternoon as each and every one of these drivers look to try to put themselves up and into victory lane in what's going to be a very exciting, very interesting afternoon of racing action as things are going to get very, very fun. Things are going to get very interesting, very tough, and very wild here in a quick hurry as you just never know when the big one's going to happen. The big one lurking around the corner for each and every single one of these drivers, and that's a spot you don't want to be as they hop out on the speedway right now for their qualifying session, hoping that they put themselves into a good enough spot to rock and roll out there on the racetrack and not make any mistakes at all here this evening, as this is the BuyNobleAmerican.com 150 here this evening. Each and every one of these drivers looking to try to put themselves up and into victory lane here in the Buy Noble American 150 this afternoon. As each and every one of these drivers hopping out onto the racetrack, we do see Adam Boutin. That is Evo looking to try to lay down a quick time as we do see the beautiful Cal Norton Jr. Old Spice number 12 machine out there on the speedway currently with the quick time here for Gavin Grubbs. Looking very, very fast here in a little shake and bake this afternoon for that Office Depot's Old Spice Camaro. As Jaden Newson in that beautiful Canadian racing ride up and into position number 2. Chris Zofeld in that beautiful Tide machine up and into third as Drew King sits in position number 4. Now Drew rolling another beautiful Ricky Bobby inspired paint scheme here this afternoon in the I Want to Go Fast the Me 34 machine. Drew up inside the top 5 is Jonathan Cogswell. Cogswell jumps up into position number 4 in a new quick time here as Adam Boutin in that 213 Simware number 94 ride jumps up into the top spot. spot, taking that pole position away from Gavin Grubbs. Justin Hendry now up and into position number 3 here on the Speedway. Great run right there for the Plumco number 54 ride. As now Jaden Newsom back up into 4th as Cogswell slides back to 5th. Zofeld, Drew King, Timothy Watson, our top 8. Brian Fine back in 9th with Michael York rounding out our top 10, but he's not going to be there for long as we're going to see a bunch of drivers jump up towards the top of the speed charts. Zach Wilson now into 2nd. We saw Chase Abel, that beautiful Noble American number 7 right out there on the racetrack. Chase jumps up into the 8th position here in qualifying. We'll have to wait and see. It doesn't look like he's going to get another lap in here as a couple of drivers going to leapfrog him there as Michael York and Al Lycan slide up in front of him and move Chase back now into the 9th position as Brian Fine there in 10th. We do see Cogswell still out there. He's way back there in position number 12 now as J.J. Moore out there in that beautiful 48 ride, the HendrickCars.com machine, looking for a good run. Same with Jack Simpson in that RaceEPI.com machine here this afternoon. Anthony Ludy there in the Sprite Cherry number 95 ride sits in 23rd. Brad Fulham in the 21 ride getting his lap started here. Same with that Tiny Toe 77 ride of Dalton Wicker as Wicker ready to try to get a good lap in here. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to go back down pit road, and unfortunately, I'm not sure if he's going to get a lap in. It looks like that beautiful 77 ride, the Tiny Toes machine, will start at the back of the pack. Is what's good? Bowman, the showman, in the chat here. What's good? Ron Aaron coming in, showing the love here. Says one of the best. Great content as always. I appreciate that, Mr. Bowman, showing the love here this afternoon. Is 213 Simware with that like on the stream and the share on the broadcast. Hypershift Racing League coming in with that thumbs up here this afternoon as well. As each and every one of these drivers ready to go to battle, they're ready to duke it out here in this one. Is Spencer Reynolds, Rowdy Robbie, all coming in showing the love. Global Hawk coming in, also showing the love here in this one. Is a little boogity up in the chat. Spencer cheering on that 11 car out there on the Speedway. As same with Global Hawk cheering on that 11 machine. We do see everyone cheering these guys on. As Corey, what's good, Corey? Corey says, sup, Aaron, let's go, Dalton. Hold it down for Tiny Toes. Dalton with the Tiny Toes. Let's win this. Let's go, baby. Everyone cheering on their favorite driver over there on the YouTube stream. As, whoops, some of that AS number 11 car, says Spencer Reynolds. As Global King says, Gobble King, I want to say Global, but it's Gobble King, says, Gobble Hawk. My gosh, am I having a stroke up here in the chat? It says, let's go, Zofeld. Let's get it, ladies and gentlemen, as each and every one of these drivers are ready to duke it out, ready to go to battle. It's qualifying, not super important here, but we did see Gage Wenzel there late in that qualifying session, lay down the quick time and steal that pole position away from Adam Belton. So the 2430 machine will start in the pole position here in that Tom's Tasty Taters and Walleye Fish Sandwiches number 36 machine will start out in front. Pelton will start to his outside there in position number 2 in that Coke Zero 94 ride as Zach Wilson in that Rogue machine, the 51, back in position number 3. Starting in position number 4, it'll be the Cal Norton Jr. Old Spice number 12 ride of Gavin Grubbs. Al Lycan's there in the Monster Energy ride, rolling there in 5th. Michael York there in 6th in that beautiful Cincinnati Bengals ride. Oh, baby, look at that Bengals machine out there on the Speedway. Sitting in that 6th position here for the start of this race. The Plumco number 54 ride, that is Justin Hendry back there in 7th. To his outside will be that 40 ride of Jaden Newsom. Then we see Chase Abel and Brian Fine running out our top 10 with James Hudson, Jonathan Cogswell, Drew King, and Chris Zofeld. They're in 13th and 14th. Timothy Watson, Jeremiah Nelson right there as well in that 35 ride. Scott Shive in the beautiful Wonder Bridge machine. Another beautiful Ricky Bobby inspired paint scheme out there on the Speedway. Shive with a beautiful paint scheme out there this afternoon. Christopher James right behind him in that beautiful number 88 ride. The W Energy machine with Jack Simpson down to his inside in that RaceEPI.com machine. The BioSteel machine rolling there in position number 18 with Max Cost. J.J. Moore back there in the HendrickCars.com ride. Then we see Kent Mueller, Dylan Picklesheimer in the 45, Anthony Ludi back there in that Sprite Cherry 213 Simware machine there in 23rd. Tyler Chronister in that Walmart ride back there in 24th with Dalton Wicker, the Tiny Toes Ford Mustang, back in 25th. And then we see Brad Fulham and Gavin Grubbs. Unfortunately, it looks like Gavin going to miss out and not start this race here, as he will have to start from down on pit road and giving up that 4th place starting position. It's a tough break there, as they're going to steamroll past him, and no draft out there for him, as Gobblehawk, thank you. Yeah, it's Gobblehawk up in the chat, showing the love here. Says Coke 0, more like last place. Oh gosh, leave him alone. He's already dead. I'm just kidding. As here we go, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. You came here for a show. Well, here you go. As these drivers getting ready to duke it out. They're getting ready to go to battle. They're waiting for that pace car to pull hard down off of the racetrack and down pit road. Is Caleb McKinney. What's good, Caleb? Caleb coming in with the like on the stream, and Michael Dickinson, Papa Mike coming in, showing the love as well with that heart reaction. How are you, Papa Mike? Papa Mike showing the love here this evening. As ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you haven't already, it's not too late to do it. Even if you're rewatching the broadcast and we're no longer live, make sure you guys hit that like button for us right now. Hit that thumbs up, hit that share button, hit that follow and subscribe button. As here we go down through the tri-oval and into the Geico restart zone. We will see that green flag fly as the 36 of Gage Wenzel will end all the anticipation with our feature presentation and quickly take that green flag, as he's getting a great shove down low from that 51, right? Not a whole lot of help to their back bumper. Now here comes Jaden Newson. Newson jumps down to the bottom lane. Here comes the 84 ride of Jonathan Cogswell. Cogswell early on here found a lot of different runs and able to quickly slide up 6 positions up into that 6th position, man. Wow, what a run there early on for the 84 ride, jumping down to that inside lane and just being able to find a ton of speed as that inside groove in behind that number 51 of Zach Wilson did not seem to fire up, but now they are door to door out there on the racetrack. Boughton, Wenzel, door to door down the back front straightaway here into the tri-oval by a big move out of the 5 right of Michael York. York looking to take this race lead, and he will take it down across the line as the Cincinnati Bengals number 5 right of Michael York will lead lap number 1 here this evening. Our first lap into the books here. 70 laps of racing action here this evening. As Daryl says, good luck SDR. Wish I could have made it. Says I got the simmer for the win. Simmer for the win. I like it. Good pick right there. Pickle Simmer or Simer. Pickle Simer out there on the speedway. Always fast out there on the racetrack. Always a tough one here is our fave snack. What's your fave snack? Oh gosh, I gotta catch up on chat here. You guys are just going right through there. Let's go number 11. Tide Pods for life. Oh gosh, yeah, our fave snack, our favorite snack, the Tide Pods. Oh man, oh gosh, I didn't realize you guys were that young. Don't eat Tide Pods, ladies and gentlemen. Don't eat them. As Gage Wenzel going to take that race lead back away as they get lined up down that inside groove. Unfortunately there for Michael York, no help to the outside lane as drivers starting to get a little bit more into a solid position here. We start to see a different paint scheme out there. What was the other car? I just saw the, there it is, the 28 ride. That's the Laughing Clown number 28 ride. What a throwback there for Timothy Watson. The Laughing Clown of NASCAR, the Laughing Clown 28 ride. Shout out to Ricky Bobby's first ever race in NASCAR right here at Talladega Super Speedway when he got in behind the wheel of that 28 ride and took that Laughing Clown racing ride from somehow, I don't know how they didn't go multiple laps out the driver out of the car and down on pit road for so long, but nonetheless, he was able to jump back out there, make some big moves, came home in 3rd, but not first or last. And here tonight, we know a lot of these, throwback paint schemes, these Talladega, the Ricky Bobby paint schemes, man, they're going to be looking to find victory lane here this evening. They know if you ain't first, you're last out there on the racetrack, and they're going to be trying to race their way up to the front of the field. As right now, it is the Chevrolet that Tom's Tasty Taters and Walleye Fish Sandwiches number 36 leading the way here in this one is Jonathan Cogswell now leading that outside lane as the outside group getting rocking and rolling here again, and now we see pretty much all the Monster Energy rides in that outside group. Chris Sofeld right there with them as Cogswell, he's got to be careful here. They're pushing him out quite a ways. He's going to jump down to the inside lane, realize that he may be the odd man out there with the Monster Energy team kind of just lined up right on his back bumper as the 9 Al Likens now going for the race lead with James Hudson there on his back bumper. There you see the 35 ride of Jeremiah Nelson out there as, oh, look out, getting a little squirrely with Jonathan Cogswell. Cogswell getting a little squirrely after a big bump there to his back bumper, and luckily not able to hang on to that. Did not come back over the nose of that 36 ride, or else that could have been the first big one of the day, as you do see that 35 and the 45 of Dylan Picklesheimer all right there. The Monster Energy crew up on the outside lane here, just doing what they need to do, just racing their way up to the front of the field. As Rowdy Robbie says, what do we need to do to get an in-race interview with Zofeld? Listen, I don't know about in-race interview. During caution flag, we could potentially do that for certain. It's definitely going to be tough for in-race, as these drivers are usually talking to their teams and their spotters and everything else, as the spotter's going to play such a vital role here this evening. And there's that move we were talking about. Cogswell, he was trying to be cautious of it, but now they're going to leave him high and dry as he goes to that third lane. No help to his back bumper. All the Monster Energy ride's going to stick right there to that middle groove, and unfortunately for the 84, he slides all the way back now into the 13th position. Jumps down to that inside group here, trying to work his way back up towards the front of the pack as Gage Wenzel continuing to hold down the fort, getting some big shoves here from that 51 of Zach Wilson. Wilson seems so far, he is a very good pusher out there on the speedway, as Al Likens there in position number 3, still trying to get that outside lane rocking and rolling towards the front of the field, but right now they only got about a 5-6 car pack up there. They may need to try to add a few more drivers to that outside lane, really start to build up that extra momentum to see if they can push their way out in front of the field. As right now down low, Gage Wenzel, Zach Wilson are just absolutely hooked up here this evening. Caution flag is what I mean. Let's hear it. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see if we see a caution flag and or when we see a caution flag. And I know here at Talladega they tend to go a little longer, so we should have time to be able to bring in a couple drivers here, as Gobble Hawk says the Monster crew looks so cringe out there. Probably listening to Nirvana. Listen, who isn't listening to Nirvana right now, okay? Nirvana is an amazing band. Rest in peace, our boy Kurt Cobain, as I'm going to do the same thing that he did right now. I'm going to shotgun a rock star. Oh, that was a little too dark, chat. That was a little too dark. I apologize. As out in front, Wenzel continuing to lead the way. Zach Wilson there in second. Likens still trying to get that outside lane to the front of the field. Unfortunately, kind of just stalled out right there in that second, third position, door to door, as you do see the beautiful Noble American number 7 ride. Huge shout out here to Noble American this afternoon, as they are our main sponsors of this race by NobleAmerican.com. 150 here this evening from Talladega Super Speedway. Check them out over on their website and buy yourself some pretty absolutely amazing merch, as always a Noble American out there on the racetrack. Is out in front, it is Gage Wenzel continuing to just keep on getting some good shots, getting some good help here to his back bumper, as things just stand door to door out there. But you're starting to see that third line starting to round up here. They're starting to get that third line moving, and now we do see that number 45 of Dylan Picklesheimer. Picklesheimer going to go up there and try to join them here See if he can get another one of these Monster Energy rides up towards the front of the field as he jumped up in front of that 5 machine and was able to slide out that position and starting to work his way to the front of the field as all of a sudden Michael York in that 5 ride, the 94. That is the 94 machine of Adam Boughton right there, all giving him some great shoves. The DHL number 8 of Kent Mueller up there just pushing that 3rd line right to the front of the field. You see Anthony Ludi in that battle as well, as you did see that 45 ride get a big enough run, quickly jumped down to the bottom side of the racetrack and jumped right in front of that number 9 ride of Al Likens. So now it's Picklesheimer, Likens, and that 2 machine, 3 Monster Energy rides hooked up right there together at the front of the field in that outside lane. As Rowdy Robbie says, oh my God, that was good. Laugh and laugh. That was good, chat. Clip it, and ship it right now. Okay, clip it and ship it right now. As Michael York continues to lead the way here, he was another one of those drivers using that 3rd lane, got to the front of the field. We saw them jump down to that bottom and middle lane here. Now that 3rd lane has dissipated. There's no one really up there anymore. And if you are, unfortunately, you're going to slide quickly to the back of the pack. As we look back throughout the field, we see Chase Abel still trying to hold on to that 9th position as Jeremiah Nelson there to his outside. Jaden Newson right there to his back bumper. Brian Fine there is that 3rd lane trying to get built up here again as Brad Fulham from the rear of the field now up and into position number 11 here. Great run so far for that Flying Otter number 21 machine. Justin Hendry now leading that outside lane here, the 3rd line here at Talladega Super Speedway, as he's got Adam Boughton right to his back bumper. That 8 ride, the DHL machine of Kent Mueller there on their back bumper as JJ Moore rolling the inside groove. That HendrickCars.com number 48 ride. Jack Simpson right in the middle of the pack here. He's in that middle groove, deeper in the field, back in the 18th position, but definitely a spot that could hurt you in a quick hurry, as we do see Anthony Ludi, Max Koss, Jonathan Cogswell, who was up at the front of the field battling early in this race. Cogswell now back in that 20th position. Has the Laughing Clown 28 ride right there on his back bumper, and the Tiny Toes 77 of Dalton Wicker. Wicker rolls there in that 22nd position. Christopher James in that W Energy 88 ride back in 23rd with Scott Shive in another one of those Reiki Bobby inspired paint schemes there. The Wonder Bread number 81 machine there in 24th. Tyler Chronister in that 25th position, and there's that Me Machine, that beautiful 34 ride, the I Wanna Go Fast ride of Drew King back there in the 26th position. Unfortunately for Gavin Grubbs, we talked about this early on, Grubbs was supposed to start in position number 4 here this afternoon in that Cal Norton Jr. Old Spikes number 12 ride. Unfortunately missed the start of this race and had to start from down on pit road. Unfortunately, that meant he had to roll out onto the racetrack, had no drafting help, had no one to his back bumper and able to help him around the speedway, and right now he is significantly off the pace here compared to that lead pack, as he's about 4 seconds slower than they are out on the racetrack. So losing 4 seconds a lap, he is quickly about to become a lap down driver here on the speedways. The outside lane, that 3rd lane, getting rocking and rolling once again, and it's going to push Adam Boughton to the front of the field. Big run there on the front straightaway, and Boughton now leads this race with Kent Mueller there in 2nd, as here comes Anthony Ludi right there as well. That inside lane, though, starting to build up some steam. Here comes that 45 ride of Dylan Picklesheimer as the Monster Energy rides get broken up a little bit, but you do see the 45 and the 9 of Al Likens. It will slide down in front of that 36 of Gage Wetzel and the 51 of Zach Wilson on the inside groove here. You see that Noble American number 7 rider Chase Abel. A lot of these drivers are trying to play it pretty cautiously here. We haven't seen this inside lane really get too broken up. These drivers have been really stuck together here. When you look at that 36, the 51, the 7, the 57, they've been all kind of stuck right there, nose to tail. They haven't really done a whole lot of moving around. They haven't been testing the waters in different lanes or trying to throw big moves, big blocks, or anything else in. They're a little deeper in the field as now you start to see that 36 right of Gage Wenzel, making that move to the outside lane. So for the first time here this afternoon, we see Gage leave that bottom lane and jump up into the middle groove here. Now has Adam Boughton to his back bumper. Now Boughton coming with a big head of steam there. Could have easily just jumped up and made the move around him, but I think that left car, unfortunately, playing a factor in that one. Did not want to take it 3 wide and have a risk of our first caution flag of the day is unfortunately there for Gavin Grubbs. Grubbs gonna go a lap down now. Good news is that he's the only car a lap down out there on the racetrack, and if we were to see the caution flag fly, he is in position for the lucky dog. Now what he needs to do right now is try to get right there behind Chris Sofeld, try to get that draft, try to build up the speed and momentum here with the pack and just hang right there with them and hope that no one else goes a lap down and potentially takes him out of the free pass spot here this evening. But definitely not the start that he wanted here this evening at Talladega Super Speedway as they continue to battle door to door here at the front of the field, continuing to race absolutely lights out. Side by side, a lot of pushing and shoving. That third lane coming into play a few times, definitely giving drivers some ideas on what they need to do or where they need to be and who they can kind of work with here later in this race. As right now, it doesn't matter who leads. Lap number 16, lap number 20, lap number 50 even. It only matters who's leading at that start finish line, and as you can see, it's quite a bit different here at Talladega compared to Daytona. That front straightaway is a little bit longer. It's the biggest track here in NASCAR, and for that front straightaway, it's a little farther down that front stretch and through that tri-oval more towards corner number 1. So we see a lot of 3, 4, 5 wide get built up through that tri-oval late in these races and down across the line. And we can easily see 3, 4 wide down across the line. They could be a difference maker or an opportunity for a driver to pick up a win only by an inch or 2 out there on the speedway, sometimes even less than an inch out there on the racetrack here at Talladega Super Speedway. So it could be one of the closest finishes coming up here in the Hypershift Racing League history. As Dylan Picklesheimer leads the way here in this one, it's Adam Boughton there in second. Anthony Ludi there in third, as now you do see Boughton jump down to the inside lane here, looking to lead that 45 right high and dry in the outside lane as Boughton wants to jump back out front. Ludi's going to go right there with him. Now here comes that 54 right, and now a big run for the 48 as they're going to split the 45 right. Going to leave Picklesheimer high and dry. He's going to get picked up by his teammate Al Likens, unfortunately only a 2-car pack right there in the middle of the speedway, and they have both slid back now outside the top 10. Tough break there for both those drivers as here comes Chris Sofeld in that tied number 11 ride, getting to their back bumper as we are 3 wide racing once again here at Talladega Super Speedway. As those Monster Energy rides looking to try to get teamed up and lined up once again. We'll have to wait and see where these drivers are able to make some moves, as you do see that 36 ride right back into line here and going right to the front bumper of that 51 machine of Zach Wilson, as they've been working well together all evening long, and that's exactly what you run into here. A lot of these drivers, what they're doing right now is they're kind of gauging, they're trying to figure out and learn, you know, the best teammates, the best people to kind of work with. You always want to work with your teammates, but sometimes late in these races, your teammates are never to be found. So you've got to try to find some new friends, some new dancing partners, and someone that may be nice enough to help you and maybe push you into victory lane here this evening. As I'll match that $50. Whoa, $50 to whomever picks the monster team. Oh gosh. Oh gosh, that's awful. That's awful. We never want to see that. As Vibe says, let's go Newson. Cheered on Newson out there on the speedway as Newson rolling a little deeper in the field, but starting to work his way back up towards the front of the pack here as he's actually now our new ranks leader. As where did these guys come from? The Canadian crew representing here this afternoon as the Canadian Racing number 40 rider Jaden Newson now all of a sudden at the front of the pack with Jack Simpson, his teammate there in that raceepi.com. Number 24 right on his back bumper as it is the 24-30 teammates here at the front of the field. Here comes Picklesheimer trying to race his way back up towards the front of the field here as here comes Michael York and that Cincinnati Bengals ride as that number 5 ride was able to lead the first lap here this evening, and now trying to look and see if he can lead the last lap of this race as well as he rolls there in position number 6 as the Monster Energy rides there to his outside. Now you see see that 36 machine looking to see if he can try to join his teammates here. We'll see if he jumps down low, tries to help them out and join those cats here at the front of the field. Is right now just still rolling right there. He's trying to clear that 40 of Jaden Newson, hoping to get a lane. There it is. He jumps down low, finds his teammates, and unfortunately, though, they are going to have a couple of those Monster Energy rides stick right down in front of them. Good move right there. Good call to kind of block that lane there for Al Likens and Dylan Picklesheimer, knowing that that team is locked together now back there deeper in the field. As Brownie says, speak for yourself. We want to see it. Oh, you guys can see it. You guys can see it, but definitely not what we want to see. That's for certain. We want to see nothing but good, hard racing here this afternoon as Earnhardt, SNR, those guys are... Those guys 150. Oh, gosh. Oh, man. No Earnhardting those guys. That's for certain. English is hard sometimes. That's for certain. As Spencer says, USA. Canada, bro. Up here in the Great White North, which isn't so great anymore. We're not going to get into that, but definitely a disappointing week to be a Canadian, that is for certain. But we do see a couple of those Canadians right back there trying to race their way towards the front of the field, or back towards the front of the field, as you see that beautiful 40 ride of Jaden Newson and Jack Simpson right there. It's always good to see other Canadians here on the simulator and enjoying some of the racing action and having them out there on the speedway. And a pair of them right there, teammates now lined up back in the 9th, 10th, and 11th position, as we're going to get into the nitty-gritty here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get very, very close to having to see these drivers head down pit road and potentially start to make some green flag pit stops here this evening, as the BuyNobleAmerican.com 150 is in full swing, and these drivers doing a fantastic job out there on the speedway. Everyone continue to battle, continue to just put down some great laps, continue to battle door to door out there on the speedway. What's good, Matty? What's good, Matt? Matt coming in, showing the love over there on Twitch. Says, hey, man, hey, what's up, brother? How are you? Russ Harold coming in with that like on the stream as well over there on Facebook, showing the love here in this one, as already about almost a third of the way through this race here, ladies and gentlemen. The laps are clicking off in a quick hurry, as this time by the start finish line they will click off lap number 23 and 24 up and onto the board here for each and every one of these drivers. That fuel is starting to get a little bit more and more into frame here this evening, as man, it's gonna be tight. I don't know. The fuel mileage is always a guesstimate here with this series, as they're running 75% fuel. So these things aren't completely filled up. You can't fill them up completely. You can only have that fuel tank up to that 75% level. So it's going to be interesting to see where that kind of starts, where these green flag pit stops will start to fly for each and every one of these drivers. You know, that fuel strategy game could be the make or break aspect of this race, but really, if we see this go clean and green at this point, we should probably only see these drivers come down pit road 2 times in this race. Tires aren't really an issue here at Talladega Super Speedway. They're never going to hurt you, but they're never really going to help you here at the Speedway, except for trying to slice and dice and make some moves through the field. But for each and every one of these cats, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what that fuel strategy will look like late in this one. Is out in front, that 35 ride leading the way here. I do believe, I think this is the first time we saw Jeremiah Nelson out there on the racetrack. At least it's been a little while since we saw him out there on the speedway, and he's right there leading this race with his teammate, I do believe, or at least the Monster Energy teammate there, Al Likens on his back bumper. Chase Abel there in 3rd with Dylan Picklesheimer back there in 4th. And then we see that 11 right at Chris Sobel. Sobel up inside the top 5, doing a great job there in that beautiful number 11 machine. James Hudson there in 6th with J.J. Moore back in 7th. Gage Wetzel, Jaden Newson, Jack Simpson, our top 10. Brad Fulham there in 11th with Michael York, Adam Belton, Anthony Looney, Justin Hendry, the 8 rider Kent Mueller, the 51 of Zach Wilson, the 57 of Brian Fine back there in 18th with Jonathan Cogswell in that beautiful Laughing Clown at number 28 machine of Timothy Watson, rounding out our top 20. Max Koss back there in 21st with the Tiny Toes, number 77, Ryan Dalton Wicker there in that 22nd position. Christopher James back there in 23rd. the 81 of Scott Shive there in 24th with Drew King, Tyler Chronister, and Gavin Grubbs bringing up the rear of the field. As here you go, the first wave of drivers heading down pit road. We knew it was going to be soon. We knew it wasn't going to take long, as here comes Brad Fulham, here comes Zach Wilson, Justin Hendry, and Brian Fine, all headed down pit side. So 4 drivers head down pit road. Now that's something you don't really want to see. It's sometimes nice coming down with a smaller pack. You don't have to worry about getting ran over or having, any kind of action or damage there coming down onto pit road. But the big question is going to be when you roll back out there, if a big pack does come down pit side, if they stick together, you could all of a sudden lose that draft and no longer be a part of that lead pack and just kind of be stuck back there by yourself, because it's going to take them a little bit of time to try to get lined back up. Each and every one of them going to be right there together on their back bumper of each other and trying to draft right away. As here we go. We talked about that big group, and here they come. As here comes Jeremiah Nelson. Here comes Al Likens. Chase Abel right there with the 45 of Dylan Picklesheimer. There's Gage Wenzel, James Hudson, Chris Zofeld, Jack Simpson right there as well, down pit side, Max Cost, Dalton Wicker. A lot of these drivers, we just saw about 10 cats head down pit road here. As we're going to take a look back, see what's going on here. As there we go, you start to see some of these drivers unfortunately already going a lap down, as that's our race leader. No, it's not. That's not our race leader. That's the 54 ride right there of Justin Hendry. So these guys were a little broken up there, hoping that Zach Wilson can get in with them here, get that draft. But right now they're still moving around, moving lanes, and unfortunately not hooked up tight together. And as a 4-car pack, they're really going to want to be laying down some good times out there on the speedways. Some of these other drivers, unfortunately, just rolling back out here. We'll see if they can get lined up, get a little bit more organized right out of the gate here, and see if they can open up a bit of a lead. As there you go, you do see that first pack that came down pit road right there, rolling back up and around, as that's the 54 of Justin Hendry. Looks like they will stick together, but right now out in front is that number 35 ride of Jeremiah Nelson, Al Likens, and the 45 of Dylan Picklesheimer. They all had some very, very good pit stops right there, and they get a little bit of a lead here between themselves and that 4th place driver. What will be that 4th place driver as things cycle back around. As Michael York still out in front, yet to come down pit road, but now looks like we're going to see him make that hard left-hand turn down onto the apron, looking to come down to pit lane. Driver's got to be very careful with not speeding down pit road right there. As Bounton, Michael York, Kent Mueller, and that number 95 of Anthony Ludi all heading down pit road here. As Jeremiah Nelson going to continue to pass some more of these drivers, as Jonathan Cogswell trying to catch up on their draft right there. Unfortunately, they're going to go right on by him here, and now hoping to see that number 54 of Justin Hendry try to be a little bit nicer here, maybe try to pick him up, maybe give him a little help, but they're coming with a big head of steam here as they're all hooked up back here behind him. This field kind of get back to single file. Everyone just trying to keep their cars pointing the right direction, but these little bit of breaks here, these little bit of spots where we see these drivers start to fall back 5, 6, 7 car lengths. Every single foot, every single inch that you fall back behind those cars in front of you is more and more likely that you could potentially lose that draft, but the draft is no longer going to matter as we get our first caution flag of the day. Our first yellow flag here this evening, as unfortunately looks like potentially Scott Shive and a few of these other drivers going to run into some problems here. Shive already with some pretty good damage right there. That right front busted up as it looks like he tries to slide in front of the 40 machine of Jaden Newson. Unfortunately gets into the fence, comes down the track. Unfortunate break there for Christopher James. Christopher nowhere to go in that WNRG ride. This is all happening behind him, and unfortunately as the 81 bounces off the wall, comes back down the racetrack right into his right rear quarter panel, spins him around. He comes back up the track over Jaden Newson's front bumper. So some pretty good front end damage there for the 40 ride, and unfortunately for the 81 of Shive and that 88 ride of James, pretty heavy licks right there for both of those cats out there on the speedway. And man, that's going to be some pretty good damage out there for him. As you do see the 40 ride, he's going to go down through the grass right here, do a little landscaping this afternoon at Talladega Super Speedway, as he had his hands full to try to keep that 40 car pointing in the right direction. Did get a little love nudge right there from the 63 of Max Cost. Let's play this back. Let's jump on board here with this 40 ride and see what he can see from the cockpit. As he's getting a good run, he's got some great speed, goes to the outside of the 81, throws a bit of a block. Unfortunately, as they become contact, gives him that little bump trap, just gets that E1 right squirrely, and then here he is going through the grass. Oh, maybe you got to hang on to it. Hope that car doesn't get tore up here. Luckily enough, it hasn't rained a little while here in Talladega, so that grass pretty solid, and hopefully not too much damage to that front splitter as he'll get rolling back out onto the racetrack here. As some pretty good licks right there for a couple of those drivers out there on the speedway. They're going to be looking to get their cars fixed up and ready to rock and roll once again as our first caution flag of the day here at Talladega Super Speedway. And we are going to get a quick word in here from our sponsors over at Juicy Spider. Some pit stops underway, some drivers electing to come down pit side, get some extra fuel into their race cars, making sure that they're absolutely topped up here, as this is probably still going to be a one-stop race from this point on. Drivers probably only going to have to make one more trip down pit side. Tires aren't going to be a huge issue, but it could come down to potentially seeing this one go clean and green, or potentially seeing more caution flags here, as cautions tend to breed cautions, and we may see a couple big ones here this afternoon, as each and every one of these drivers are ready to rock and roll, ready to go back to battle. It's Adam Boughton out in front who leads the way. Boughton at the front of the field, showing these drivers that he's going to be tough to beat here. He's going to try to keep this Coke 094 right up there at the front of the field. He qualified in position number 2, now leading this race. He is not wanting to slide any farther back here. He wants to stay right there and in that top spot here this evening, as each and every one of them continue to battle, continue to fight here, lap after lap after lap. We continue to get closer and closer, though, to that checkered flag, as we'll have to take a look here and see if we can move. I don't see. Guys, I don't see your driver. Where's Zofeld in this chat? I don't think I see Zofeld in the Discord, so unfortunately I can't even pick him in. Oh, no, there he is. Okay, we found him. We found him, chat. Let's see if we can get him up here. We're getting ready to go back to green flag racing, but let's see if we can get him up here into the booth. We have to try to drag him up a couple rows here quickly. Hey, Chris, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. You get a copy?
I do. How's it going?
Not too bad, Chris, man. A very solid run so far for that Tide ride, as you and the team have been working well together. A couple times we saw you get up into that second groove, up into that third lane, and just pushing each other right to the front of the field here this afternoon. Is that kind of what the game plan's going to be for late in this race? Try to find each other and just navigate your way back up to the front of the pack here in these closing laps.
Yeah, I don't think we can make it on fuel, so I think we're going to have to stop at least one more time. But the high side is, it moves, but the right person on the bottom, they'll keep it going too.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously a bunch of different lines, a lot of different talented drivers here this evening. When you look through this field, you know, who are some of these other cats that you may have to work with, as sometimes late in these races, it's tough to find your teammates out there. Have you been trying to make some friends with some of these other cats, knowing that maybe they can help you find your way up into victory lane?
Well, I've been having some pretty good success with my teammates, with Dylan and Al and James, and we got a new guy named Jeremiah that just joined the team. So, like I said, we're working together. We were almost 1 through 6 there for a little bit.
Yeah, Absolutely. Team working well out there. Cars looking great. We can't wait to see how this one plays out for you. Be safe, have fun, and hopefully we'll see you back up here in the broadcast booth later here this afternoon.
All right, brother. Take care.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our boy, that number 11 ride, Chris Sofeld. And Sofeld getting ready to restart here, getting ready to rumble once again here at Talladega Super Speedway. He's back in that 15th position, ready to go back to battle, ready to duke it out here this evening. Is Adam Boughton in the 5 ride of Michael York, door to door, as the green flag back out here this evening as our first restart of the day is underway. As Adam Boughton out in front, quickly jumps down to that inside lane. Unfortunately, kind of leaves that 8 rider Ken Mueller high and dry up there on the outside. Now he's going to jump down to the bottom lane as you see the 45. That is Dylan Picklesheimer in the 9 ride of Al Likens. Now, unfortunately, door to door. Unfortunately, here for Al Likens, that restart kind of broke him up. Had him down on that inside lane. His teammates now to the outside group. They're racing their way towards the front of the field. He's going to be really looking to find a hole to try to jump up to that high side and help try to line up and team up here once again with his teammates. Unfortunately, got trapped right there in that battle bottom lane, and unfortunately, not a whole lot out there for him. As you see that 11 ride try to get up there as well. Chris Sofeld looking for his teammates. You see the other Monster Energy number 2 rider, James Hudson. He's a little farther back. Here is that Me Machine Drew King right there. He's right in behind the Laughing Clown ride. That is the start and finish of the Ricky Bobby career, the ballad of Ricky Bobby right there, the start and finish of his racing career as he went from that Laughing Clown car all the way after, you know, a little bit of ups and downs throughout his career. It ended up just as me, his own sponsor, in that beautiful number 34 line here this evening as Drew King bringing it back to life and trying to race it up into victory lane just like Bobby did, as Jack Simpson there in 19th. Gage Wenzel back there behind him as teammates here a little deeper in the field. You do see Chase Abel, Jaden Newsom, that number 63, a Max Cost there as well. Tyler Chronister unfortunately a little farther back and at risk of potentially losing the draft. And for Gavin Grubbs, the 81 of Scott Shive and the 88 ride of Christopher James, they have followed back again. It looks like they've kind of lost the draft with that lead back, as unfortunately for the Old Spice number 12 ride, he was able to get the lap back, which is a good thing there during that caution flank. Unfortunately, though, looks like a couple drivers that he was hoping to work with here got some pretty good damage and were collected in that yellow flag, as Scott Shive and the 88 of Christopher James still with some pretty significant front end damage, and I think that's really hindering their performance here as they quickly fell back and now about 5-6 seconds behind our race leaders here this evening. As Al Likens out in front, Al was able to find that outside lane slide in front of his teammate Dylan Picklesheimer, and Picklesheimer able to hang on to that second position here. Their new teammate Jeremiah Nelson, they're in position number 3, and they continue to battle here in this one. As better watch out for that spider monkey out there. All them spider monkeys, they'll get you. They will get you. As Rowdy Robbie says, listen to that Sofeld interview. He doesn't know what to do with his hands. He doesn't know what to do with his hands. He's got 2 first names. And look out as we have one driver down the racetrack, Dylan Picklesheimer, running into issues. Oh, baby, that's a heartbreaker there for the 45 ride, and that is going to be our second caution flag of the day. As Picklesheimer, I'm not sure if he gets a bad shove right here. He's on the back bumper of that 9 ride of Al Likens, battling here at the front of the field. Teammates lined up 1, 2, and 3, leading this race. A couple of their other teammates not too far there behind them. Only car separating them is that 21 of Fulham, but unfortunately here, let's see the contact. Let's see the little bit of a lick that he's going to end up taking here. That's just going to lose the rear end. Now, this damage, I don't know why it's showing that he has it already. He doesn't have this damage, but unfortunately just comes in at corner number 2 and just loses the rear end right here. The car just shoots down the racetrack, and luckily enough, he's able to get onto the binders and just can't avoid hitting that inside fence. Pretty good left front damage there for the 45 ride, but the car does bounce back up onto the racing surface. Here comes a bunch of drivers, and that's where that caution flag gets thrown. That's a tough break right there as the Monster Energy cars taking themselves out here in this one. That's for certain, as a tough break there for Dylan. He's going to be looking to try to get that car repaired and hoping to see if he can rejoin his teammates here towards the front of the field. as take a lap in that Camry. Camry, yes, Sirski, take a lap in it, baby. Take a lap in it. Boom Monster Car says J-Red, okay. J-Red coming in, showing the love here in this one, says trying to see what he's got to say. Let's go. We're not bringing Zofeld back in for another interview. That is for certain. That is for certain. We'd be bringing another driver in if that was the case, but we're not going to do that here this afternoon. We're going to take a look and watch these drivers head down pit road and take their first pit stops here. Not their first pit stops, but another set of pit stops here this afternoon as even though they only ran 4 or 5 laps right there, still heading down pit road, still making sure these cars are absolutely toughed up with fuel, as you just never know if you can save enough back there deeper in the field. If you can back the pace up, if you can draft a little bit more mid-pack or at the rear of the field, you can potentially save a bunch of extra fuel. As look out, Al Likens right there, getting a little squirrely going up through the gears, coming back onto the racetrack. Unfortunately, gets a little sideways there, and I do believe Kent Mueller is going to beat him off of pit lane. So Mueller now going to be our new race leader in that DHL 213 simware.com machine, as Al Likens there in position number 2 with Jeremiah Nelson back in 3rd. Zofeld, Jonathan Cogswell, our top 5 with Jack Simpson, J.J. Moore, Dalton Wicker there in that Tiny Toes Ford, rolling there in position number 8. Brad Fulham back there in 9th, and Brian Fine rounding out our top 10. Zach Wilson there in 11th with Jaden Newson. James Hudson, Chase Abel in that beautiful Noble American number 7 ride there in 14th. Justin Hendry back there in 15th with Drew King. Max Cost, Gavin Grubbs in that Old Spice number 12 ride now into the 18th position. We'll see what Cal Norton Jr. can do out there on the racetrack, and if he can get a little bit of that shake and bake rolling out there on the speedway, maybe getting this 12 ride up to the front of the field. Timothy Watson back there in that Laughing Clown number 28 ride. He's ready for the shake and bake himself here as he rolls in the 19th position with Gage Wenzel, Tyler Chronister, Adam Belton back in 22nd, Anthony Ludy there in 23rd, and Michael York now back in 24th. As we do see Christopher James taking another trip down pit road. Now it looks like the crew has gotten this car back together here. Quite a bit of damage repaired for that W Energy number 88 machine. That car looking brand new out there on the speedway. Now the Wonder Bread 81 ride of Scott Scheim still trying to get his car fixed up. Dylan Picklesheimer, he's still getting that damage repaired here. Still some pretty heavy left front damage there for that beautiful Monster Energy ride as he rolls back in 27th. Now we're going to see a few more drivers elect to come right back down pit side, including our race leader. He was able to beat everyone out of pit lane, and now the DHL Express number 8 ride back down pit road. Looks like he's going to get some tires and some extra fuel. All these other drivers also getting tires, and well, not really tires, just mainly fuel. Getting that one extra lap of fuel could be the difference maker here this evening, making it in fuel or not. So they're all just trying to make sure they're absolutely topped up and ready to rock and roll here this evening. As Rowdy Robbie says, I'm gonna scissor kick someone in the back of the head. Oh gosh, don't do that. Don't do that. No scissor kicking up in here. No scissor kicking. As Caitlin says, if y'all don't move out of Zofield's way, y'all making my... Whoa, whoa, whoa! Caitlin. PG up in the chat. PG. Filters. Okay, come on now, let's go. As here we go. These drivers are ready to go to battle, as out in front, it's Al Likens. Likens will once again consume this race lead as drivers were down pit road there on lap number 38. Now, some other drivers coming back down pit side there on lap 39 now. It's going to be tough, man. Making it 30 laps really on fuel. It's going to be very, very tough to... I put my house on a parlay for Zofeld to win. Oh gosh, imagine if we could do betting with this. I would lose so much money, Chan. I'd be doing these broadcasts for absolutely nothing. I'd be losing money on these broadcasts if I could put money on them. But I don't know, maybe I'd probably rig a couple, win some money from FanDuel, get a little bit of my money back, you know. As here we go. We'll get ready to rumble. We'll get ready to go back to battle as we are just a little over halfway through this race. 40 laps going to be complete. 30 laps left to go here in this one as each and every one of these drivers looking to try to put themselves up and into victory lane. As the safety vehicle, the iRacing official pace car gonna make that hard left-hand turn back down pit side here himself. Each and every one of these competitors ready to duke it out, ready to continue to battle here at Talladega Super Speedway. As the Monster Energy rides out in front, leading the way, it's Al Likens and Jeremiah Nelson who will lead us back to the green flag, down through the Geico restart zone. As we go back to green flag racing, we are going to jump into a Peacemaker Gaming Crank It Up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers here this evening. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up for all these drivers for a beautiful crank it up session out there on the speedway. As a lot of goods to hold down the fort out in front of the field. To his outside, that's his teammate there in the 2 right, James Hudson in that top spot. Now using the outside to work and navigate his way to the front of the pack. He's going to jump down low in front of that 2 right. His thing's getting a little broken. Just be YouTuber, the internet here. Just be YouTuber, the internet. I don't know why it's